Hey everyone, today we are tackling one of the biggest challenges out there, how to stay consistent when you're learning something new. It can be a really frustrating cycle, right? But what if I told you there's a much better way to think about it? Let's dive in.
You know the drill. You start something new, maybe a language, maybe a skill, and you're just full of excitement. You think, this is it. I'm finally going to do it. But then life happens. A couple of missed days turns into a week, and suddenly you're right back where you started. It's a story we all know way too well.
But what if the problem isn't your willpower? What if it's just your approach? Today we're going to walk through 6 key ideas that will completely reframe how you look at consistency, and hopefully turn it from this constant battle into something that just feels natural. So first things first, let's figure out why we stop in the first place. And look, it's probably not because you're lazy. More often than not, we just fall into a very common trap: the massive gap between what we expect and what reality looks like. And this right here, this is the core of the problem. We imagine this perfect, straight line to success, I'll study for an hour every day and see huge results in a month. But the truth is, real learning is so much quieter. It's slower. Most of the real progress happens under the surface, when you don't even notice it. So, the real solution to this expectation trap isn't trying to be more disciplined, it's actually patience. Patience is that kind of calm strength that lets you trust the process. It helps you settle into a nice, steady rhythm, even on those days where it feels like you're not getting anywhere at all. Okay, so if the problem is aiming too high, the solution is, believe it or not, super simple. You've got to think smaller. I mean, radically smaller. And this is where we really start to unlock the secret to consistency that actually lasts. Sound familiar? Oh yeah, we've all been there. We get super excited and set these huge, ambitious goals. 2 hours a day. It sounds so impressive, right? Like you're really committed? But in reality, it's just a recipe for total burnout. And yeah, this is what happens, right? Goals that are that big just feel heavy. They feel overwhelming. They become this chore that your brain starts to actively avoid. And pretty soon, it just gives up. The motivation is gone, and you're left feeling exhausted and like you failed. So what's the magic number? What's the alternative? It's this: 10 minutes. That's it. It's a goal so tiny, so ridiculously easy that your brain has absolutely no reason to fight it. Honestly, it's almost harder to find an excuse not to do it. And that, right there, is your starting line. And why does this work so well? It all comes down to one word: momentum. As soon as you start, even for just 10 minutes, you create this little push forward. It's like giving a ball a gentle nudge. And soon enough, 10 minutes might become 15, then 20. Not because you're forcing it, but because it actually feels good to keep going. All right, so you've started your small habit. That's awesome. But now, how do you make sure that what you're learning actually, sticks? This is where we need to talk about how our brains actually hold on to stuff. I absolutely love this metaphor. It perfectly describes what happens when we learn something new, but then we never ever look at it again. See, our brain is super efficient. If it thinks a piece of info isn't important, it just lets it go. Reviewing is how you send a signal to your brain that says, hey, this matters, keep this. And this is where a really simple trick called spaced repetition comes in handy. You don't need to cram for hours. Instead, you just revisit the information at the right times, over longer and longer periods. Each little review makes that memory stronger and more permanent. And remember this: the goal is not to study until your brain feels totally saturated. That's actually the opposite of what you want. A quick, focused 5-minute review when you feel fresh is way more powerful than an hour of distracted studying when you're tired. It's about studying smarter, not longer. Now we're getting into the really powerful stuff. How do you make this learning habit so automatic that you don't even have to think about it anymore? Well, you weave it right into the fabric of your everyday life. Let's try to reframe the word habit into something that sounds a lot nicer: a ritual. A ritual isn't a chore you have to do. It's a small, meaningful moment that you actually start to look forward to. Like listening to a language podcast while you make your coffee in the morning. You do it with care, not with pressure. And this is how you start building that ritual. You create an environment where the language is just all around you. Change your phone's language setting. Put little sticky notes on things in your room. Follow some interesting pages online in that language. Your brain will just start absorbing it passively, without you even trying. This next idea, for me, it's the most important one of all. It ties everything together. We are so focused on getting to the destination that we completely forget to enjoy the journey. The real secret to long-term motivation is to fall in love with the process itself.
So here's the big mental shift you have to make. Separate the process from the progress. The process is that quiet, daily work, your 10 minutes of study, the podcast you listen to. The progress is the result that you'll see way down the line. If you can learn to actually enjoy the process, the progress will just take care of itself. This is such a perfect way to think about it, isn't it? If you're always chasing that final result, it feels like it's a million miles away. It's frustrating. But when you learn to appreciate each little step, each small win, each moment of learning, the journey itself becomes the reward. And before you know it, you'll look back and just be amazed at how far you've come.
And finally, let's talk about the most human part of this entire journey. What do you do when you mess up? Because you will. You're going to miss a day. You'll have an off week. It's inevitable. And how you handle that single moment, well, that's everything.
I really want you to let this sink in. It is okay. Perfection is not the goal. You are not a robot. Life is messy, it's unpredictable. The moment you give yourself permission to be imperfect, a huge amount of pressure just lifts off your shoulders, and the whole thing feels lighter. When you miss a day, the real enemy isn't that you broke your streak. The real enemy is guilt. Guilt is that heavy, heavy feeling that tells you failed, and all it does is make it harder to start again. The most powerful thing you can do is just forgive yourself, immediately, no questions asked.
And this right here, this is the ultimate takeaway. We have to completely redefine what we think consistency means. It is not a perfect, unbroken chain of successes. Real, unbreakable consistency is simply the art of always coming back. You missed a day? So what? Just show up again tomorrow. That single act of returning, that's where your true strength is.